All right, bro. So what are you getting done today, man?
So I just do like a shadow taper.
Okay.
For the back, you don't have to taper it. You just like do
line it up.
Yeah, line it up on as a circle.
Okay.
And then just the edge up, but I have like lower density right here.
In the corners?
Yeah, in the corners.
Okay.
So.
And you keeping the same length on top?
Yeah, keep the same length. I don't know if you want to shape it or not. Like, because I feel like the shape is kind of off. I want it to be like a kind of like a good circle.
Okay, cool. So we'll pick it out. We'll shape it up real good.
Exactly.
And then the beard, kind of how it is right now. Do you want to lower it some?
Not really.
No, just line it up sharp.
Yeah, you can line it up.
And then you want to keep it as high as possible, or do you want it to be?
I'm not sure because I feel like the top part grows like lighter. That's why I started cutting it down.
I think you naturally have already like a
lower,
nice, yeah. So we'll do it keep it prominent or whatever. And yeah, let's get started, bro. YouTube, what is going on? How's everybody doing? Thank you guys for checking out another video. I know it's been a crazy week. Some of you guys are barbers and man, you're dying to get back in the shop. Some of you guys are looking for your next haircut and you're dying to get a cut and all this craziness, man. It's been rough, but with that being said, guys, I got a bunch of content that I've actually had archived, and so I still will be dropping videos for the next few weeks at least. I have enough videos to do that, so make sure you subscribe and notifications are turned on. So I'm blow drying his hair and picking it out because I'm trying to get it as picked out as possible, because we are going to freehand and shape his fro. He didn't like the shape that he had before. He felt like it was a little bit off, and so he just wanted a more symmetrical look when it came to his hair. And so now we are going to shape the top. And so I like to start at the crown area to create my desired length, and then if you notice, I kind of went vertically from the front over to that desired length. So now I have a guideline in the middle of the fro, and now I can start going horizontally again to create that shape. I have them face towards the mirror, and I'm referencing the mirror to make sure that that shape and that length is looking good. Remember, I'm using that guide in the middle that I created as my reference. And now we're going horizontally using what we did on the top as a reference. And doing that all the way through around the head. You guys can see I'm taking my time. You don't want to patch nobody up that's got a fro, man. There's no coming back from that. So I'm taking my time. And essentially what you're trying to do is just make sure it's 90 degrees and symmetrical all the way around. You can see how that side wasn't symmetrical, but what I did here is I picked the hair out again, and now I'm gonna follow it up with shears. I just like the finish that the shears give, a softer look. And so this is our second pass. Did the clippers, picked it out. Now we're using our shears to create that second pass. And for me, what I've learned, man, if you don't do it at least once, hair's not really gonna be even, because as you're freehanding over time, the hair starts to, because this is tight curly hair, the hair tends to shrink or curl up some more or sit some more. And so like I like to pick it out at least a second time, and then at the end of the cut do one more freehand just to get any little scraggly hairs and get this thing on point. And I think this is where customers with a fro, they appreciate it. Like, even though he's just getting a shadow taper on the sides and his beard, taking this time to detail his fro and show that you care about the final look and the symmetry people appreciate that. Alright, so I decided to go with the grain here because he does have density issues, and he told me he had density issues, and that pretty much just means he has lighter areas than others because there's less hair in certain spots. And so I decided to go with the grain first to make sure that the hair still stayed dark as opposed to going against the grain. And what you might end up having is, you know, a shorter version of different densities, if that makes sense. So you'll get lighter spots than other, but if you go against the grain, it tends to keep everything darker. And so once I've done that, I'll line him up just so I have a reference point. That way I can see how that shadow taper is looking as we start to do the blend. And I'm using my rose gold Babyliss FXs. Shout out to Babyliss for sending your boy one of these, because this thing is hitting. Just melting hair. Okay, and so now we're gonna start the shadow taper. Now for me, the shadow taper, a lot of times it'll start with the blade open, but depending on somebody's hair texture, sometimes you go a little bit shorter to make it look like there's a blend. Because on some people, if you just go with the blade open or number one close, for example, it's not going to look like there's any type of transition. It's just gonna look dark. And so I wanted to have a transition. A lot of people, most of the time when they want a shadow taper, is because they want to keep that lineup. They want that lineup to still pop, and you can still do that. You just want to make sure that you're shortening the hair, or that you're going lower. And when you go lower, you stay away from the actual lineup, right? And that's how you accomplish a tapered look while still leaving hair on the sides. Okay, and at this point we're freehanding above that 1.5 guard because we want to make sure that that taper flows nicely into the shape that we created with the afro, right? And at this point we're detailing. Alright, and now we're going to repeat the same steps on this side, and I'll let you guys follow along with the color guide.
Tito, let's get it.
Now guys, real quick, I wanted to show you how I kind of, I flip my clipper around. The purpose of that is because I need to make sure I'm going against the grain so everything's even. If you notice on this side of his taper, the hair tends to grow towards the left and then start to curl up upwards. And so if it starts to curl upwards, the hair growth pattern, then you need to make sure you're going against the grain. And so I had to flip my clipper upside down to make sure that I lowered that against the grain. And look how much better that's looking already as far as the tape is concerned. Now remember, he didn't want a taper back here. He just wanted it shaped up, but I'm still going to freehand it so that it's a little tighter at the neckline, just so it doesn't look like her mullet's growing back there, right? We want that lineup to grow nicely, and we want that shape to look a little bit more rounded. Where if we didn't freehand it back here towards the neck, if you notice from this angle, it would have looked squared back there. And so I switched to my gunmetal Babyliss Skeleton FXs because it's a little bit more conservative when it comes to how sharp it is. My Rose FXs are definitely set a little bit sharper, and so I want to be careful around the neck area, and so I'm using a trimmer that's a little bit safer because I don't want to irritate his neck, right? But these things still hit. Don't get it twisted. You guys have seen I've used these. These have been my #1 hitters for a minute. And I still primarily use this trimmer. And I love freehanding with this skeleton trimmer. You can hear the hairs coming off when you freehand with these. But they don't make that noise as good without that 245 power clip attached at the bottom. I'm just kidding, guys. That's a joke. That's a joke, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and line him up. Remember, in the consultation, he brought up his corners. He wants his corners to look full. And so I'm not pushing this back. I'm keeping it as natural as possible. And that's going to set the tone for the lineup in the front. Alright, and so I'll use the other corner while I'm referencing the mirror, and then I'll bring it together into the middle once I feel like both corners are symmetrical. And of course, you gotta freehand these hairs that are overlapping the hairline. You don't want that, don't do it in the corners because the corners are already light. But if you do this primarily in the middle, away from the corners, it'll actually make his corners on his hairline look even fuller. All right, and now we're gonna enhance it. We're gonna use some 245 no drip. You can get it at tomb45.com. I think the enhancements with him, because of the density issues, it's definitely a good look in my opinion. I know some of you guys literally have a no enhancement, even if it would save your life. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was life or death, you would choose no enhancement either way. I know there's you guys out there, but I'm telling you, my clients love this stuff. And you know what I'm saying? Like I just want to give not the perfect, but I just want to give the best final look I can for my clients. All right, so I went ahead and put some hairspray, and kind of I also and I just kind of misted it. That's why I like actual hairspray rather than spritz, because spritz can get like sticky and like feel like a super soaker is hitting your client's hairline. Right, but the spray is a nice little mist, and so I sprayed the hairline, and then I'll just kind of let it sit now as I detail the taper, and then when we go follow it up and start to line up his hairline with the razor, with the trimmers, it'll really make his lineup pop some more. That's the thing with barbering. What makes a barber next level, what will help you build clientele, is when you can give the best possible haircut for that particular client that doesn't have the perfect hair texture for the blurriest fades and tapers, right? Like, most clients aren't the perfect hair models, right? And so you know, I'm not knocking my client here. I'm just saying that, you know, he's aware of it. He knew exactly what he wanted in the consultation. But if you're a problem solver as a barber and you could do the best work you could possibly do with what you're handed, you know what I'm saying? That's what's going to make the demand, your clientele so important. I'll give you an example, guys. So this guy I was listening to, I think it was like a podcast or something. He was talking about how the reason why, you know, people get paid more is because of how replaceable they are. And so the example he used was like, yo, like there's people who are mad about not getting paid more and they work at McDonald's, for example, right? And you know, anyone can work that job, so you're easily replaceable, which is why you don't get paid as much as some other careers, right? Whereas a doctor, if you were about to have a heart attack right now, literally you would pay whatever you had in your bank account for that doctor to save your life. And there aren't that many doctors out there, right? It's not that easy to become a doctor. The cost of entry is very high. And so that's what helps a doctor get paid so much money, right? Does that make sense? And so like, guess what? I feel like barbers can put themselves in a position where they're hard to replace. And that happens with clients that are difficult to cut. Not with the perfect models that you can look at them and give them a blurry fade. You get what I'm saying? You want the clients that are difficult to cut. All right. So anyways, this is what I was talking about earlier in this video. This is my favorite part, because this is finalizing, getting all the scragglies, and this trimmer is so detailed when it comes to freehanding. It just listen to that. You could hear it. Ooh. Love it. Love that sound. So guys, anyways, this is the before. I hope you guys enjoyed the cut, and look at the after. Guys, thank you so much. Again, we're gonna be dropping content during this whole quarantine thing where I can't be in the shop because I got videos archived. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button. I'll see you guys in the next video.